So thank you so much, Professor, for making time to speak to us once again. Could you kindly tell us how your campaign has been going so far?
Yes, it has been tough. As you know, we are a new kid coming into an environment that you would say has already been committed over the years, but it has been very, very fulfilling because our message is roundly accepted wherever we have been. We haven't been disappointed by the response of our people, and that has been most gratifying and fulfilling. And in consequence, we think we will do very, very well.
So you've been to almost all the districts in Lesotho?
The only district that I have not been to, except for one rally, is Witawuti. My particular modus operandi has been to hold public business where you are able to sit down, talk to people at a community level, and you engage with them, they ask questions, they challenge you, and I find that very, very fulfilling. Essentially, the idea on our part is to revolutionize politics by empowering the electorate. Our politics hitherto has not been about empowering the electorate. It has been about brainwashing the electorate. And so when you engage with them and you give them your vision, they are able to relate with that with a much better understanding, and in that sense they feel very empowered in it.
Are you happy with how the IEC has run the elections until now? Are there any issues?
By no means, by no means. Look, the present commissioners were inaugurated while I was a minister around December 2020. And I remember spelling out to them what I considered to be top priorities. We're still left with almost 2 years before the elections. But I think they did not respond quickly. Issues which have been very key for the last 3 or 4 elections has been the cleansing of the database, voter database. And one expressed the expectation to them that they should deal with that as a matter of urgency. Looking back, I think the database is far more messy than at any other elections. So there's a key issue. So we're going to these elections with a database that may be the cause of unnecessary controversies relating to the outcome of the elections. So we are not happy about that.
With the voters' roll.
With the voters' roll. On the our side, we are well aware that the IEC is thoroughly underfunded due to the current fiscal challenges that government is confronted with. And so we expect that these elections will be afflicted by a number of malaise relating to, first of all, the performance of the IEC also suspended a very experienced operations director few months before going into elections. We don't know why they did that. There is no justifiable reason why you would remove somebody who has been empowered by experience of running all of the elections in the last couple of years on the eve of the elections. So yes, we are not happy. We don't think the IEC is doing its utmost best in terms of managing the process. We don't think government is doing its utmost best in terms of providing necessary support, especially financial support, to have smooth elections.
Do you see the outcome being contested, given what you have said about the voters' roll?
Well, you can't rule out that possibility. You can't rule out that possibility that some parties will, politicians always do that. They will look for whatever loophole and challenge. In some cases, it probably will be legitimate challenges, but in some cases, it would be challenges that are taking advantage of the loopholes that may have been provided by the process.
Is your team in the BAP gone through that voter register?
Yes.
To make assessments where there are flaws?
I'll tell you, for example, in my own constituency, you found in virtually every what do they call them, the voting stations, names of people that are not known in the community, names of people that are known to have deceased, and we brought it to the attention of the returning officer in the constituency, but we haven't had any feedback. And so a few days before the elections, you suspect we are going to go to the polling booths with precisely the same mistakes that we spotted. Yeah.
Do you suppose there's an outside hand trying to tamper with the outcome of the election, or these are technical challenges in coming up with a clean voter register?
We are in Africa. You cannot rule out outside hand fiddling with the process. You can't rule that out. Although we don't have evidence to that effect. So that possibility is there. But on the one hand, it may well be technical challenges that arise out of incompetence and related challenges with the IEC.
Now let me take you now to your political party, the BAP. Why should people vote for the BAP?
Because there are only two parties in these elections. It's the rest of them that the electorate has experienced over the last 56 years, and the BAP on the one hand, which is coming out with a truly transformational agenda for this country. Because we always say, remember in Southern Africa, Lesotho is ranked the lowest income country in Southern Africa. And yet we say that this country is hugely endowed with resources. And yet the people on the one hand count amongst the poorest in the region and in the world. So something is missing there. And our assessment is that something that is missing is leadership. With a vision, with a deliverable program of action, with credible leadership, and all of that is what the BAP does have. That is why I'm saying it is the rest of the parties on the one hand and the BAP on the other. And that is the compelling reason why Basotho must vote for BAP.
So how will you do things differently if you were to assume power?
Everything will be done differently. Remember, we anchor our commitments on 3 values. The first one is good governance, because we don't have good governance. We haven't had good governance for many, many years in this country. You have an unprofessional public service. You have alarming levels of corruption in government. You have very poor mismanagement of public assets. So you have to fix those, and that is why we talk of good governance. Second value is the rule of law. This country has, for all intents and purposes, lost its ways in terms of adhering to the centrality of law in societal interactions. And that is why we have this absolutely dubious distinction of being a country with the highest crime rate in the region and the worst homicide rate on the whole of the African continent per capita, ranking number 3 on homicide rates in the world per capita. It is because over the years, regimes that have been led by these other parties, 60-something of them, because even if they change names and all that, it's the same thing, have deliberately and systematically undermined, 1, the institutions that have the responsibility to oversee the enforcement of the law. They have ensured that we have a very weak legal regime, which is not even being enforced. So that is why we talk about the rule of law. You have to restore order to society if you expect development. For example, if you expect external external investors to come into the country, they must be convinced that their investments will be safe. If there are disputes, the courts of law will preside and arbitrate quickly, informed by the law. They must be assured that their own lives will be secure. All of those things don't exist at present moment. Now the third value, we're talking about an equitable and inclusive economic growth. You may be aware that Lesotho ranks number 8 in the world in terms of the huge gap between those who have the resources on the one hand and those who have nothing. And so our socio-economic policies, and there are many, they address the issue of how do you bridge that gap so that at the end of the day you have a cohesive society. You can't have a cohesive society when you have such a huge gap in its midst. Now, I'm answering the question, why us? And I am saying, look around, look at the policy thrusts of all of these other parties and determine whether there is any that has a profound understanding of the structural problems that have put the country where it is and have come out with concrete policies that seek to address the malaise. Yeah.
Have you done an analysis to say, given what you have experienced during
we've deliberately avoided doing that because we wanted to be focused. Campaign, campaign, and campaign until the last minute. And every single day we see people flooding to the BAP. Just yesterday, I was at my constituency and I was receiving new members. I received calls from not less than 4 constituencies that were receiving members from established parties just yesterday. And we think the trend will continue, not until the eve of the elections, but until people get to the polls. And so we have said, be focused, don't be allowed to be distracted by speculations in the media, television manipulations of visuals, all of those. We just shut our eyes to so that they don't belabor our concentrated focus.
Do you see yourself as the best candidate amongst all of these parties?
Who would ever doubt that? I come into politics with a track record in administration and people leadership. I have led at institutions of higher learning, some of them literally wild. Let me give you an example. When I became executive dean at the Mafikeng campus of Northwest, You know what? I was the only applicant because nobody would dare go to that place because it was so unruly. And I became dean. My rector, vice rector, whom I reported to, would every morning walk into my office and say, "Dean, are you still here? I'm afraid you might flee." And I would say, "Look, I'll tell you if I feel it is too hot for me." In my second year, I was asked by the rector, "Can you use the magic you used on the Faculty of Law to also become a dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences simultaneously with the Faculty of Law?" I said, "I can do that, provided, of course, you're going to pay me 2 salaries because I'm going to be heading 2 faculties." So I led, we didn't agree on 2 salaries. He says, "No, we will raise your salary." I said, "Yeah, I know. You South Africans, you believe that to achieve labor. So you want me to do a job of 2 people for a salary of 1? No, there was no deal." I led at Nqosa. When I walked into the executive deanship at the College of Law, the college itself was bigger than anywhere. It was an 80% Afrikaner institution. And mine was to transform it to be black-led. After 4 years, people who were acquiring their doctorates, their professorship, were in the majority blacks. The leadership of the various departments, you had more than 80 departments and 2 schools in the college. The majority of the leaders were blacks. And then I went to Wales. Again, a white institution. And again, I also led well. Of course, we had differences with the top management. I came to NUEL, which at the time, as Vice Chancellor, at the time, people were writing off NUEL. In fact, within government, there was a strong body of opinion that says this university must be shut down. And within 4 years, I had transformed that institution. It is a respectable institution now, with focus on national socio-economic issues. So I came with that track record into politics. In fact, I didn't want to come into politics. I was literally tracked into politics because people were saying, "Hey, look at what you've done for NUEL. On the one hand, the country is sinking. Why would you not come and help in the national effort to salvage the country?" So I came with this track record. I came with integrity. I dare say I challenge anybody. I'm the only politician on the scene who is not compromised. And I have ensured that the BAP doesn't get compromised. That is why it surprises many people that the BAP, unfunded by anyone, but by the meager resources of our membership, is performing so well. It is because we don't want to mortgage the future of this country by allowing ourselves to be in the pockets of whoever would be the funders. So that when we get into office, we should be able to implement our programs without looking over our shoulders. Yeah.
Are you ready for a coalition, given the results over the past 10, 12 years? We now see that no political party can win outright. Are you ready? Have you been in discussions with your rivals across the political divide for a possible coalition deal?
We haven't discussed it with anybody up till now. For a simple reason, we wanted to focus. Of course, after the 7th, the outcome would probably dictate for all of the parties to sit around the table. But we were not prepared to commit ourselves before the electorate has given us their share of the mandate.
What final message would you want to send to your supporters?
First, let me send a message to the electorate.
Please send it here. To the camera.
All right. This country doesn't deserve what it has been getting in the last 56 years. And it is where it is. Someone says, there's an English phrase that says, you deserve the leadership you get. The electorate in this country is where it is because of the leadership it has been choosing. It is about time they turn a page and change the fortunes of their country and their well-being. And that is by electing the BAP. To BAP members, we say to them, don't stop yet talking to Lesotho. Doing it until the last minute, because we still believe that victory is within our reach. So remind the voters to look for an ox-drawn plow and tick against it.
What is your vision, given that symbol, what is your vision towards the revamping of the agriculture sector?
Agriculture is so central to an economy that wants to stand on its feet. And so our policy thrust is very revolutionary. It's different from any other policy that you would find on agriculture, because we think it is the mainstay of the potential for this country to stand on its feet. And so it will be accorded the place it deserves. It is a pity previous regimes have been destroying what remains of our arable land. You've seen, instead of growing crops, we are growing houses all over the most fertile land. But this country still has a very reasonable reservoir of good fertile land, We have abundance of water. We have the air. We have the sun. We have the altitude. All of the things are what makes agriculture successful, provided you have good plans. And so as far as we are concerned, agriculture, and that is where we hope that many Lesotho will get jobs in agriculture. But you must revolutionize your approach to agriculture. Move away from subsistence production to large-scale and commercialized agriculture.
Now, my final question relates to what we have seen with the entry of Ntate Shao, this Chinese guy. Others are saying we're beginning to see the Chinification of Africa, where the Chinese come from China, they come into Africa, set up base, and now they're looking for political office. What is your take on that aspect?
This one is just an academic analysis. With neoliberalism that hit our shores in the 80s, we gave up control of our economy. And so you had expatriates coming in with deep pockets. They have taken over the retail trade. They've taken over, if you look at any of the hardwares and everywhere. And it was only a matter of due course that they come into the political arena. The problem is those who manage the state. We have two ministries that deal with trade in this country. The Minister of Trade, which is supposed to be the home of external investors. And then you have this Minister of Small Business, which is where you are supposed to be incubating domestic business so that it grows. What has happened? Because of corruption, government has allowed people who come in here on a clear mission of investing in large-scale industrial development, who are supposed to be dealing with the Minister of Trade, to come into the terrain of small business. And they have captured that now, and they now know that the political system is so weak. They are now invading that space as well. This is not about Shao, it is about how we have gotten here. And as for Shao, if Shao impresses on the electorate at Hasolo to vote for him, so be it. We hold no anti-Chinese sentiments against him or against any other.
Thank you very much. I think we are done.